Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a video card review. I'm going to be reviewing the AMD HD 7950 graphics card by, like I said, AMD. Although I got the Sapphire make, which is pretty, the standard thing. It's pretty similar to all the others. Um, and this is a very new thing. I built a computer, and I'm very lucky to have a very new graphics card. And I thought, I'll make a review video. And I hope you guys like this. I've thrown together a couple clips from games showing off their frame rates and how it looks. All games are on max settings, so I think I'll just jump right into those games. Thanks, guys. So here we have Battlefield 3, possibly the most graphically advanced game right now. Like I said, all settings are on max. The average frame rate when I'm not recording, I get about 60 frames per second. My processor that I use is the i5 2500K, K meaning that I can overclock it because it has an unlocked multiplier. It's a great processor, although it's definitely not the best. It's a pretty low end. I wanted to definitely dedicate more money to the graphics end of this computer. So yeah, as you can see, this is definitely the most beautiful game. Actually, all the games that I have, it's probably the most beautiful. When I'm recording, I get about 40 frames per second, so this is more around 40 right now, but still, I think it looks pretty stunning. So some just general information about the card. It's 3 gigabytes of video memory. There's an 800 megahertz engine clock, 1250 megahertz memory clock, meaning that if you overclock it to the maximum, you can get 1250 megahertz. There's 240 gigabytes per second memory bandwidth, a 28 nanometer design, so that is much smaller than the previous. I believe it was 40 nanometer around there. So that means that it's much more power efficient, it uses a lot less power, and processes more efficiently, but there are older drivers, so we'll have to wait a little while until better drivers come out. There are a lot of other just, additional numbers I don't really understand, like teraflops and things like that, but anyway, it's a very good card. It supports DirectX 11, OpenGL 4.2. It can do triple display, and so that's the AMD Eyefinity. And I believe that's about it. It does support multi-threading and the like. So I'll move on to the next game. Okay, so StarCraft 2 is definitely a much less graphically intensive game than Battlefield 3. With that on maximum, I get anywhere from 150 to even 200 frames per second. In the beginning, and then obviously there are times in large battles where it can drop as low to about like 60-ish, maybe sometimes even 50, 40. But those are if it's like a lot of units on the screen and things like that. And I just think it's great with StarCraft. Obviously, I think any card, really high-end card, would be, but since StarCraft isn't that graphically intensive, but it still looks amazing. Much better than the iMac did, that's for sure. I'll show you a big battle in a minute. So even in this, fairly large battle, I can still get upwards of 60 or more frames per second. Although with recording, StarCraft will usually stay at around 50 and maybe even drop as low to 30. And this is also on creep, so it is a little more pixels and polygons to generate, but it's still, I believe, pretty decent. It's quite a good frame rate. So, yeah. So let's move on to Skyrim. So Skyrim's probably the least graphically intensive of all these games. I mean, StarCraft and Skyrim, pretty similar specs. I wish I had some other games to demonstrate the sort of greatness that this card is. But yeah, so I mean, you can see I think vertical sync is enabled, meaning that it locks the frame rate of the game at the same refresh rate as my monitor, which is 60 hertz, so 60 FPS. So yeah, it does stay at 60, and even while recording, it stays at 60. And I do have settings like once again at max, and I think it looks pretty damn great, especially with the HD resolutions pack, the higher textures. So so yeah, that pretty much concludes this small little review. I might include some scores from maybe 3D Mark Vantage or anything like that some other time. But right now, this is a little whipped together film, just demonstrating this card. I honestly think it's great if you're looking to buy a computer. I honestly recommend this, or sorry, looking to make a computer. I honestly recommend this. But yeah, and that is if it's pretty high end. I mean, this is a pretty expensive card, no doubt. But so yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys later.
Keep an eye out for wolves if you're headed up the path to High Hrothgar.